Hi folks, Ben Grove here for round 2 of the Pokéverse Cube League. This time I'm up against Davi and his Gengar deck with a 1/1/1 Ampharos line as a backing option that enhances the spread and helps curse damage counters around and whatnot. Should be a good match. Let's just hop right into it. So Davi going first here, up against a Pitch Dark, which is locking me out of trainer cards, which is kind of annoying. I started a hand with tons of trainers and no energy, and getting a little punished for that right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and Arven for 2 cards that I can't use. Just going to kind of get the 2 best that I can use once I'm not Pitch Darked anymore. So I'm going to grab Ultra Ball and Muscle Band, I believe. Yeah. Just the 2 best cards to actually start doing something when I'm allowed to use those cards. And we'll pass it over to Davi. Davi's going to get his board really going here. Lynette's Net Search, getting him 3 different types of basic Pokemon. And he's going to pull out an Ololipix, a Mareep, and a Ghastly. Just some great consistency there. It's going to evolve into Haunter and then use Beacon on Alolan Vulpix, which is actually opening me up here to some potential of getting set up. I already have the Porygon in play, so I can easily get into a Porygon 2. I got a Rocket Sneak Attack to disrupt the 4 cards that Davi has remaining. I mean, he's going to get 2 Pokemon, but and the 2 Pokemon that he gets is not too big of a threat. It's just Haunter and Dark Flaffy, so it's a very honest evolution here. So I'm kind of just going to let that ride. And we'll go ahead and start things off with Sneak Attack. And off the rip there's only 1 supporter in hand, so we're going to get rid of it. There still is a Mysterious Treasure, which is going to allow him to get to a get into a Gengar, but what are you going to do? We'll Ultra Ball, and we'll go ahead and grab Porygon 2. And we'll kind of just thin everything down. And we do draw an energy. It's a Grass Energy, which is not great. But what can you do? We'll go ahead and put the Parallel City in play. And we'll use Bianca for turn. That will get me into some good stuff in my hand. I've got Scizor Prime. I've got Scizor EX. I got Research as well, so some real good stuff. And I'm just going to evolve into Scizor and pass. The good thing about this is that that does protect me from Gengar, because the Haunter right now has a special energy, and Scizor Prime's Poke Body, Red Signal, I think is what it is, prevents damage from any Pokemon that has special energy attached. We're basically playing Duraludon on VMAX. And so Davi just going for the real consistent play here. Beacons for 2 Gengars. And I'm going to go ahead and Celio's Network, and I'm going to make a really safe play here. I don't have energy, and I don't have many draws, so I'm going to just Celio's for Holon's Cast Form. And that does turn my energy into 2 metal energies here, which is nice. For the Metal Scissors attack, I'm going to Windstorm my Parallel City to draw a singular card. Woo! And we'll just go ahead and take the knockout. Davi starts off with a Mars, going to discard one of the cards in my hand, and they discard the Professor's Research, which is actually pretty big here. There was a pretty good chance I was just going to bin that whole hand after attaching an energy and throwing down a Verbank, so pretty good for Davi. And they're just going to go ahead and attach Scramble and do a little Shadow Skip. Now, the problem is, and we'll recognize this in a bit, is that the Shadow Skip should have done no damage to the Scizor. But the real relevant damage is actually the 1 damage counter on the Porygon 2, because that means it is in Shadow Room range. And once again, I'm going to go for a big backup for 1, and that doesn't get me anything. And so we'll just go ahead and swing on the Ghastly for a knockout. And there, yeah, we recognize, okay, yeah, there it is. Remove that damage counter. Scizor is very protected here. Honestly, the only thing that it's really susceptible to is the Fainting Spell on the benched Gengar. Davi going to start their turn off with a Colress's Experiment. Some really good draw here. I'm going to get 3 cards and, yeah, throw away a DRE. Yeah, definitely makes sense. And a Wishing Star Jirachi. A little too late for that guy to come into play. You can see the Fainting Spell Gengar here. Put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. If that Pokemon has any Poke Powers, put 6 instead. So that is the real way to snipe down this Porygon 2. And that's exactly what Davi's going to do. Just going to say bye-bye. And knock out my Consistency Engine. And down goes Porygon 2. All right, over to my turn. It's kind of annoying. We're going to have to do some dumb plays here. We're going to have to attach the Giant Cape to Skuntank G because I want to draw more cards. My only draw right now is Holland Scientist, and we're matching hand sizes already. So we're going to discard the Dark Porygon 2, and we're going to be able to draw 3 off this Holland Scientist, and we do find a Scyther. The day is saved, and we'll attach an energy to that Scyther. And we're going to need that backup Scyther because once I go ahead and use Metal Scissors here, the Fainting Spell will trigger, and down goes my Scyther. Thinking about my promotions here, I am just going to promote the Scyther and say, please don't have Expert Belt. If Davi has Expert Belt, that's basically game over right here. The Expert Belt would push the Shadow Skip damage up to 80, and I'd just be KO'd. Davi gets a Retriever in and shuffles back a whole line of Gengar. And Gladion for turn. Looking at the prizes and finding Jamming Ampharos. Now, Jamming Ampharos, whenever your opponent uses a supporter card, they put 1 damage counter on their Pokemon. It's just going to help do some funky things with Curse Math and make knockouts, reaching for knockouts a little bit easier here with this Gengar. Davi has the Stadium Bump for my Verbank. I didn't actually really get to use the Verbank at all. I just kind of played it down because I needed to draw more cards. And we'll Shadow Skip for 60 damage onto my Scyther. Now, the good thing is, now that the Scyther survived, there was no Expert Belt coming down. I can evolve him to Scizor EX here, and this Scizor EX has the Pokebody Damage Perception, which will increase my damage of my attacks by 40 when I'm at 60 or less health remaining. So we're just going to kind of evolve there and Steel Wing. There's nothing else I can do. My hand is kind of junk. Yep, and so we attach, evolve, and go for the Steel Wing. Steel Wing's going to do 80 damage here and also reduced by 20, so we've got an effective 30 reduction with Metal Energy as well. that will put me out of shadow skipping range next turn, because there was the potential of cursing a damage counter and then shadow skipping. So we're safe from that, thanks to Steel Wings reduction. Still not in the great spot. I definitely need a backup guy, and Davi kind of realizing that they're just going to build up a backup guy too. Wish I had one of those evolving basics. Davi's going to curse a damage counter onto the... No curse. And just go ahead and shadow skip into Skuntank. And we draw a Scyther off the top of the deck. Holy cow, we are in the game. The promotion, the Ampharos here, is very suspicious. Obviously, that kind of signals that there's something like an AZ or a Floatstone or something in hand, because otherwise you wouldn't really promote something that has 3 retreat here. And I kind of hum and haw about what energy attachments I'm going to attach. I end up attaching the Warp Energy. And just go ahead and Steel Wing for 60 damage after resistance. And yeah, that's the first thing. Yep, there's the AZ. Big feels bad. The good thing is we're still reducing things by 30 with Steel Wing. And so what Davi's going to do here, and I don't really realize, I assumed he was going for the KO, but instead is going for the Pain Amplifier. Yeah, I assumed that he was going for a Shadow Skip, but he's going for a Pain Amplifier, which spreads some damage counters around to everybody and puts me in danger of next turn getting cursed and then Davi taking a double knockout. The good thing is that I have a Hex Maniac to prevent the curse from happening next turn. So that does keep Davi honest a little bit. And we are once again just kind of gonna try and Steel Wing our way through things. This time, interestingly enough, because I have to play the Hex Maniac to survive, that does mean that Steel Wing only does 40 damage because it turns off my damage perception. So we'll do 40 with the Steel Wing and reduce any damage by 20. And then that means Davi's just going to kind of drop an Old Cemetery and Paunt. Has been chaining a bunch of good consistency back to back. Meanwhile, I'm just playing the cards off the top of my deck and kind of getting lucky. And the Pain Amplifier will keep ticking up. And we'll go ahead and promote Scizor. We do draw a Yanma off the top of the deck. And I debate attaching energy, and I realize, no, I can't attach the energy because that makes it too easy to just KO. And I'm like, well, I just gotta rip the Focus Band hit here, and we X-Scissor for 30 damage, and the Focus Band gets the knockout, and we are safe. Davi promotes Dark Flaffy, attaches Float immediately to it. Gets down another Ghastly with Elm's Lecture here. And unfortunately, off of the Paunt from last turn, they did find Expert Belt. So the Expert Belt here is going to... an Expert Belt plus Stamp. Ugh. Yeah, that kind of really seals my fate in a bit. And they're just going to go ahead and Shadow Skip and knock me out. And I think about promoting the Skuntank, but that really, I think, is just kind of a losing proposition. I do promote it anyway. We are bailed out with a Shaman EX off the top. We're going to go ahead and Delinquent, and that does make Davi make some difficult decisions. He has a hand of 5 cards, and we're going to discard 3 of them. The funny thing that happens here is it basically discards a whole entire Gengar line. Yeah, discards Gengar, Energy, and Haunter. Davi's basically saying, yeah, I'm riding this Curse Guard the whole way out. And it is a pretty good place to do so. I'm going to throw it on the Sky Field. I'll just get some chip on the Dark Flaffy with Poison Structure. And pass it over. And the cards that Davi's keeping here, Support Nav and Psychic Energy, yeah. The Delinquent was not enough to get there this time. And that basically is, I think, sealing my fate here. Davi did need this energy attachment to Shadow Skip because the Scramble energy right now is turned off. And Davi will go ahead and judge me. The judge honestly helped me out, but it's not overall better. I do have a Yan Mega, but regrettably, I don't have the Expert Belt that I need. Davi's going to curse one over the Yanma and then retreat and Shadow Skip, knocking out the Skuntank. And then I kind of do the math. I'm like, well, I did not draw a Windstorm, especially because I used it on like one of the first turns to just like draw one card. There's no way for me to deal with this Curse Guard. And so we just go game 2. Game 2, I open up with a pretty strong hand. I got some energy attachments. I got a Marshadow, and I mean, that's kind of all you would want. Davi does start off with a couple mulligans as well. Davi starting off with Wishing Star Jirachi, very strong. And a Ghastly on the bench, avoiding the Marshadow that I do have in hand. But I'm just going to go with an Attach Pass, get my Scyther running here, and look for swinging next turn. I did make the mistake, I remember in the game, of thinking my Holland Scientist was a Holland Researcher. If it was Holland Researcher, I would have been able to find a Scizor Prime that would knock out a Jirachi. And I go for that right there. I was like, wait a minute. That doesn't work. So I have to look for alternate plays. And the alternate plays are going to be just evolve into Scizor and Marshadow. And it's a pretty good Marshadow. We get the Sneak Attack. I'm never gonna complain about Let Loose into Sneak Attack. And we get rid of the Fastball. Just has an AZ and a Gladion in hand. And we'll bench another Scyther, and we'll say Steel Slash for 40. In this matchup, there is one Pokemon that Steel Slash prevents damage from, and that's the Creepshow Gengar. Now, funnily enough, Davi did actually draw the Fastball off the top after I had Sneak Attacked it away. That wasn't a Forget to Shuffle. That was a 1 in 45 chance. And so Davi will start off with a Wishing Star. Looking at the top 5, taking any card, and putting Jirachi to sleep. And then using Fastball. And Fastball, yeah, that's not an energy attachment, that Ghastly. That's flipping over the top card of the deck, which is a Psychic Energy. Luckily, we get the Haunter right off the bat there. Fastball is one of the worst cards to use on untap. So we dodged a bullet for sure there. Puts a Haunter into hand, And then Gladions, looking into the 6 prizes and picking one card and replacing Gladion with it. Davi's going to go ahead and evolve into that Haunter that they got off the fastball and pass the turn. I'm basically going to do nothing with my hand. I want to keep that Windstorm because I want to get rid of like something impactful like the Expert Belt. So I'm just going to Steel Slash and take a prize and say go. Very thrilling turn. Davi has a Colress's Experiment. Probably one of the best draw cards he has. Gonna take 3 cards to hand off the top 5 and put 2 into the Lost Zone. This time we're Lost Zoning a Psychic Energy and Underground Expedition and getting 3 cards. And a Pokemon Communication to shuffle back a Ghastly and instead getting Creepshow Gengar. Now, Creepshow Gengar has Sinister Fog, which puts damage counters on, and then poisons the active as well. And then Creepshow, if your opponent's active Pokemon has 3 or more damage counters on it, it's knocked out immediately. I decide, okay, yeah, I can't wait around on this Windstorm. I gotta start attaching energy. Gotta get going. And we discard it with Hall and Scientist. The good thing is I am not in range of getting hit by Creepshow next turn because the poison damage is only going to take me up to 2. And we're going to Ultra Ball, and then I think I realized that it was not a good play to Ultra Ball here, and then I'm literally just going to get Porygon 2. I think that's what happens. I'm just doing a little bit of math. The problem is I have Warp Energy in hand, and I can't attach that to the Scizor to do 100 damage because it's going to warp me to the bench. Yeah, I do just get Porygon 2. And since I bench that Porygon, I cannot evolve it this turn. Yeah, so we're playing really optimally here. We'll just go ahead and Steel Slash for 40 damage. Now, that does put Davi in a pickle because it is saying, okay, yeah, you can be knocked out next turn with Slashing Strike. And I did not attach that Warp Energy, which I probably should have at that point. But Davi starts with a Nazarola. So the damage I'd done there was all for naught, and a Pain Amplifier spreading some damage around and taking up poison as well. So I'm going to back up with Porygon 2 there. And we're going to get an Arven for turn. Arven's going to go ahead and get me Quick Ball, which will help me get a... Verbank setup going. So I'm going to quick ball away. Probably quick ball away Skyfield, right? Yeah, quick ball away Skyfield. Ultimately, the goal here that I'm doing is I'm getting a Verbank knockout on this Haunter. I'll attach the air balloon immediately to Skuntank and evolve Scissor on the bench. Potentially. No, we don't evolve. Interesting. Maybe I'm waiting around for potentially what other Scizor it could be. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to evolve it at that point. And yeah, we'll go ahead and Steel Slash and take the KO. Kind of just like conserving energy attachments. And I think disrupting Davi because he was expecting like for me to have to go to a Slashing Strike play here. And Davi does kind of have the nuts in hand with Candy, Scramble, Lapras for Pawnt. Really just setting up a good board there, and the Creep Show finally knocks me down. I already had 8 damage counters on me, so wasn't that big of a deal. And we're gonna go ahead and probably set up first. Yep, we'll go ahead and set up for 4. We'll bench a Yanma, but other than that, that's literally it. The problem is this Scyther here is going to die to another Creep Show. So I have to kind of figure out how I'm going to do this. I back up for 1 and we get a Mallow. So I'm just going to set my top decks up. I have to be chaining an attacker into this Yan. I have to go for a Yan Mega next because I don't have room to bench this Scyther right now. So there we go. I've gotten my cards on top of the deck. We're going to Poison Structure. And we will evolve and we will go ahead and X-Scissor. We have wasted the energy attachment. And we only do 60 because the X-Scissor flips tails. Potential to really do big damage if I hit the heads, do 60 damage plus 30 from poison with a Verbank is kind of insane. But we do not hit. Davi can just take the knockout here with Creep Show. Scramble Energy is still active. But that does allow the poison to just tick up and tick all the way up to 9. Davi does have attached to Haunter, Evolve, and Comp Search, and will judge me, and that will get me out of the Mallow that I so nicely set up. There's an Old Cemetery to limit the poison damage and knock me out. Now my hand here doesn't really have anything proactive. It just got a whole bunch of disruption. So we're gonna Delinquent and discard 3 cards. Davi's going to get rid of Psychic, Gladion, and AZ. The AZ, pretty big. We're going to be able to dodge that Gengar getting scooped up. The good thing is, though, that this Creepshow Gengar, it doesn't do anything on its own here. Like it can just kind of sit around for a turn. That's fine. So I've attached to Yanma. I've attached Muscle Band to it. And it's just going to be a pass from me. And say, hey, look, we're tied on prizes, so you would have to attach another energy. And you can't even Sinister Fog right now. The unfortunate thing is that my hand is all trainer cards. So Shadow Room would do big damage, but Poltergeist would do big damage, but does actually go for the Shadow Room, putting some setup damage on the Yanma instead. I'm really thinking about that energy attachment, and we're going to back up for 1. It is unhelpful. So we're going to go ahead and Collector for 3 guys. Bench a Scyther. So that we have something going on for next turn, and we will actually just swing in with this Muscle Banded Yanma for 40 damage. Not insignificant. It can let me just finish things off in another turn. And Davi does just knock me out. Very sad. And my hand, once again, is just kind of garbage. I'm going to need to use Flower Shop Lady here to just recover some things. So I have a greater chance of drawing into a Scizor, basically, because I really need a Scizor. Why am I getting back this Dark P2? I guess to get back Verbank. And I'm going to retreat out and promote the Marshadow. Marshadow does only have 1 retreat. And Davi's going to Mars away my Hex. I do still have the potential right now. I could Metal Saucer, attach to the active and retreat and still be okay. And Davi's going to go ahead and Ordinary Rod, shuffle some Blokes back into his deck. And at this point, he kind of has to think about, okay, what am I going to Shadow Room here? I could Shadow Room the Consistency Engine. I could Shadow Room the Skuntank, especially since I've used my 1 piece of recovery. It's going to actually Shadow Room the Scyther and set up some damage. But I actually just draw a really good card. And I'm thinking about, do I want to greed out for drawing some other cards? I have Porygon, but I might not be able to attack. But if I draw a Scythe or a Scizor, I can Metal Saucer and attack that way. And I draw absolutely nothing. It's very sad. Very, very sad. So I will Bianca for 1, hoping for a brilliant draw, and we get nothing. So times are tough. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna pass. The funny thing is, though, that my hand is so bad that a Poltergeist will not take the knockout on the active. And there's nothing that he can Shadow Room and take a knockout on. So I'm still kind of safe. The Shadow Room does go onto the Porygon 2, basically meaning it's going down next turn. I draw a Mega, which is bad. Really bad. Really, really bad. So we are in full desperation mode. It is full attached to Scyther and agility hours. The good thing is it prevents all effects of attacks to Scyther if it flips. So I can't even. I won't even get creep showed. Gotta remember to discard that energy. Hope I do. And we don't flip heads. Yeah, I do remember. Okay, good. I don't flip heads, so agility is useless, but it did do 2 damage, which will set up the correct amount for an assault boom. I do have now room to bench things. I'm going to make a useless attachment somewhere. And the Shadow Room actually goes onto the active. Or no, Poltergeist. Poltergeist goes onto the active, and Metal Saw. Or no, yeah, Shadow Room active. Yeah. Shadow Room active. And 30 damage to the active. Woo! I think Davi recognizing that bench locking and keeping that Porygon 2 around is better for making sure Yanmega cannot attack. And I'm like, I have to commit a bad energy attachment here. Where's it going to go? It's going to go to Scyther. We're going to say this Scyther is going to flip a coin heads, and it does. So the Scyther is living. We're racking up that chip on this Gengar. So Davi's like, I'm getting out of here. This feels like a trap. And goes into a TV reporter, discarding Roseanne's backup. Drawing 3 cards. And sends it over to me. I do draw a Scyther or a Scizor off the top of the deck. What do you know? Now, funnily enough, I have 3 energy attached, but I'm going to go for the Steel Wing, I'm pretty sure. So we'll evolve, because the Steel Wing will get the knockout. I'm going to attach to the Skuntank. It does have the best of the attacks of the guys I have. Probably has the best attack. And I back up for 1. It's a supporter I can't use. This Atticus is really putting in work. Not. And we'll go ahead and Steel Wing, take the KO. Castaway is a supporter. That is good. Not a good supporter, but it is a supporter I can use. So going back into Davi's turn. Got a couple different things he can do. Can Creep Show and knock me out. But that does put the Gengar in danger of getting KO'd. Lots of different things that Davi can do. His board's pretty good right now. Takes a Mysterious Treasure and gets a backup Ghastly here. Retreats out of the Mareep and goes for the Creep Show. After using Reset Stamp on me. Oh. And actually, no, it's probably not. Yeah, it's not Creep Show that's getting used, is it? Is it Sinister Fog? We'll see. We'll see if the Porygon 2 gets knocked out or not. Because that could be a funky thing of just Stamp and Creep Show, or Stamp and Sinister Fog. Ultimately, yeah. Okay, that is what happens. Okay. I did remember that correctly. Okay, so I'm at 6, 7 with poison. Porygon 2's knocked out. And we're racking up damage. The good thing is, though, I'm at 4 cards in hand, which means Yanmega can attack, and I'll take 2 prizes. So we're down to 1 prize. And we just have to kind of say, okay, We can go the distance with the board we have here. And we're not in a bad spot. I don't think Davi going in with the Creepshow guy there was right, maybe. I don't know. But the good thing is I've got 2 guys ready to start attacking. I'm no longer really gate kept out of the Sonic Vision ability here, so Davi goes ahead and jams the jamming into play. Doesn't bother me. I don't have any of them supporter cards. And Poltergeists for basically nothing, and I think was hoping for a big Poltergeist. And yeah, I think that was Davi was hoping for a big Poltergeist to get the knockout, and then the fainting spell to send us into sudden death or something like that. But that does not happen, so luckily my hand was bad. Going into game 3 then, and I'm looking at a weird starting hand. So I'm going to mulligan. Gen Spunk then. And we've got Porygon in play, plus some potential draw power with a Shaman and a Marshadow. Davi starts off with a Pitch Dark, locking me out of trainer cards, which are item cards in Gen 3. So we'll draw 2 cards off of the Shaman setup. It does not get me anywhere, so we'll just Marshadow. We do get a Scyther off the Marshadow, which is great. And then we get to Digicharge, which searches the deck for up to 3 energy, depending on how many heads I flipped. So we get a special metal energy out of it. Immediately, it's judged away. But oh well. The Haunter will start sniping me down. I'll go ahead and attach to Scizor and hope for the Metal Saucer. And we'll get a research going. No Metal Saucer. And I'm thinking, do I want to poison this Porygon and have it potentially be knocked out of commission? I think the answer is no. Feels kind of weird. We'll Quick Ball away a Collector and go get a Yanma, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we'll get a Yanma, the free retreat Yanma. So Assault Boom will be online next turn if I want it. And yeah, we'll bench Guntank G. No reason not to at this point. Am I going to let go of it? Yes, I do. And nope. Yep. We bench it. Okay. And we'll go ahead and Digicharge. And this time get 2 special metal energy. No poison. Which makes sense. Davi's still sniping down my Scizor. I do have a metal energy to attach to Scizor. And Holland Researcher, which in this cube searches for any Pokemon. It removes the Delta tag. So I'm going to go for Holland Researcher. For P2. I'm going to back up for 2 cards. 2 useless cards. Get the heck out of dodge. And we'll go ahead and Poison Structure and Steel Wing reducing damage done to me by 20. And there comes the Acerola. There comes a Creepshow Gengar, and I'm knocked out. Pretty rough spot. Did not expect that, but cool play from Davi. Not the worst for sure. We still have an attack this turn. We're going to go ahead and get the big Scyther. Attach to the big Scyther, Poison Structure, and then Assault Boom, since we got 4 cards in hand. So that'll do a total of 60 damage with the poison. And that will threaten a KO next turn. And with a poison tick, that'll threaten some KOs. Davi has a computer search to just kind of get some guys down and then paunt his way out of things. And let's see what the paunt gets him. Paunt gets a lightning energy. Anything else? Nope. And we'll just Sinister Fog, we'll poison the active, and we'll spread 10 damage all across my board. And that does mean that this Gengar is going down. It did have a very flashy surprise play, but I was able to kind of like dodge and weave and handle it pretty well. And I'm in a real cool spot here where I can Winona and get all my guys down, and I don't fear doing a backup here because I have the backup Scizor to attack. With the Muscle Blend, it will take the KO. Counting out things for math for Skyfield. We'll just go ahead and swap into Scizor and Steel Slash for 40 damage. And take 2 prizes. Davi's starting his turn off with Underground Expedition. Looks at the bottom 4 cards of the deck, and you take 2 of them and put them in your hand, and you put the other 2 back on the bottom in any order. And he'll get a Jirachi. Now, seeing really no energy in play right now, unless there's a Scramble energy, that's about the only thing that can get him Shadow Skipping. But the challenge is that this is our Resist Psychic, so it's basically minus 30. So the Shadow Skip will do 30 damage right now, which ain't great. It will do 50 damage with an Expert Belt, though. Potentially a 60 as well once we get a curse in and move some damage counters around. We'll move it off the Shaman onto the Scizor, and then a curse for 50 and put one on the Yan Mega. Now the cool thing I draw off the top there, I've got a Yan Mega Prime. So if I can match hand sizes, I can actually snipe that Ghastly. And so that's what I'm going to shoot for. We're going to get rid of a Metal and a Castform off of Zinnia's Resolve. And yeah, I do... Do I? No, I do not. So I actually just... No. Nope. Wait, how am I... Oh, I haven't attached return yet. So bench a Scyther. Attach to it. And we will just go ahead and snipe the Ghastly out of play. Sticking the Jirachi in the active. Davi's got a chorus though. Some of the best draw in his deck. Lost owns a few cards, gets a few cards to hand. And he's going to Ordinary Rod and get some guys back. We got the Ghastly with Creep Show, and we got some energy as well. Davi's going to retreat out of the Jirachi. And I'm assuming just do a big shadow skip around town. Yeah, and hits me hard with an 80 damage swing. Now, the good thing is, once again, I recognize, hey, Davi's got 4 cards in hand. I have Delinquent. And we're just going to get rid of Shaman EX, Marshadow, and a damaged Scizor. And Davi's got to get rid of 3 of 4 cards. So getting rid of Focus Band, Gladion, and Gengar. And then I'm going to attempt to get a Stadium back, and we get the Skyfield back. So we can bench a Scizor. We'll evolve, and then I think we back up first, probably. We don't want to attach this Grass Energy to Scizor Prime, for sure. Yep. We don't draw an energy, so cool. But we'll retreat. I definitely sequenced that wrong in the way that looked. But I think I'm saying Poison Structure. Oh yeah, I can Poison Structure before putting down Burbank. It doesn't matter. You're still poisoned. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, this Yan Mega is a sacrificial lamb here. It is ready to die, but it was the only thing that could take the KO at that current juncture. And Davi is just down to just a Gengar in play. Does have a TV reporter to draw out of things here, but kind of just draws what they can. Now, matching hand sizes here is probably not going to happen. Although Ultra Ball does help. We're going to get the heads. We're going to get back the Verbank. Discarding Atticus off the Ultra Ball. Very sad. There's not really any targets for me. I'm just trying to get one of those Metal Energy. We'll back up for 3. We do find the Metal Energy. We'll sneak attack just to see what Davi has in hand. It's a Holland's Electrode. Not great. Definitely not great. Definitely not usable other than to just attach to the Ghastly. After much consternation, I'm literally just gonna attach the scissor and attack with it, I think. Yep. And I'm protected by the red signal and preventing damage from this scrambled up Gengar. He can curse and he can shadow skip and knock out the Yan Mega, but that's about it. An Elm's training method off the top will secure a Haunter for them as well, which is good. And actually, are they going to Pain Amplifier? Because Pain Amplifier will get the KO. Sinister Fog, they're going to poison me, which actually will do 30 damage with the Verbank in play. And we'll knock out the Gengar after the curse. Off this Arven, I'm going to grab potentially the only... I'm not going to grab the Windstorm. I'm just grabbing the Air Balloon. Okay, interesting. I guess I want to... I have the Warp Energy to get out of the poison. And I will just retreat back into it and take the KO with Metal Scissors. It's Red Armor, not Red Signal. Red Signal is Genesect. That's what it is. And at that point, the game's basically over because I've got a Scizor in play that can't be damaged by Gengar. And there we go. So it's a long slog of a set. Thank you for listening and watching along with this one. Glad to take the W for sure. Scizor Prime definitely carried and was able to just kind of staple things together because Davi did have a really good deck, and the AZ Acerola scooping things up was really good. He had a really great deck. So happy to get the W and moving on to round 3.